Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. Today I'm going to be talking about the Brothers Karamazov read-along that I'm going to be hosting, kind of. I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit more information about this in case you guys are interested in joining along, or if you haven't really heard me talk about this at all, this will be all the information for you. So, brief overview. Basically, in August, I choose one big book that's slightly intimidating or scary to read, and I just take the entire month to read it. Last year, I did Middlemarch. The year before that was Moby Dick, and the year before that was War and Peace. So this year, I'm reading the Brothers Karamazov, and I always invite you guys to join along with me. This is a relatively, low-key read-along. I don't make a Goodreads group, even though a bunch of people ask, just because I'm too lazy to do it. I could make the group, but I would not participate in it at all because that's just not how I like to discuss books. I don't know, it's weird. It's hard for me to explain, but basically it's super low key. If you have Twitter or Instagram, we do use a hashtag for this book. We're going to do hashtag BrosK just because it's relatively short. So if we're on Twitter or something like that, it'll save us some character space. And like I said, this is relatively low key. I don't assume that everyone will read it within the entire month, and I don't do regular check-ins that much. I'm going to do a halfway point check-in so we can talk about the first half of the book together, and then I'll do sort of a wrap-up on it at the end of the month or the beginning of September. The only other Dostoevsky book I've read is Crime and Punishment, and I read that back in high school. Dostoevsky is one of those Russian writers who's slightly more philosophical in nature, so I'm a little bit concerned, a little bit hesitant about this read-along just because I don't know how well it's going to go, at least for me personally. My own personal experience with reading this book, how it's going to go. And I have a feeling that other people might be nervous about picking this book up or concerned about their own reading experience with this book. I think that in general, Russian authors are kind of intimidating to those of us who maybe don't have a lot of experience reading it. Since I have read some Russian literature and I have read some Russian classics, I thought I would give you guys a couple of tips to sort of get through this, or to give you guys sort of the best experience when reading this book. So the first thing has to do with picking a translation. Now, everyone is going to have completely different preferences when it comes to their translations. I don't necessarily have one I 100% recommend. I think a lot of them have some really great pros to them, but they also have cons. The translations that I tend to lean towards are the P&V translations because they come off as more readable to me, and a lot of times that's just what I want from Russian literature. I'm not looking to do a really deep analysis of this book. I just want to read what's presented to me and think about it and discuss the plot and the characters and things like that. But I always do a quick Google search to see what people are saying about different translations. But I just also happened to luck out because I saw this copy of the book at Half Price Books, and I just really like this edition of it, the cover and stuff, and it happened to be a P&V translation, so I ended up picking it up. But I've heard really good things about a couple of other translations of this book. So yeah, just do a little bit of Googling if you aren't sure which translation you want to pick up. There is a copy of this book on Project Gutenberg. I always like to pick classics for my August read-along, so that way you guys have access to a free ebook copy of the book if you want to join in. And so I will link that down below in case you're interested. I'm not sure which translation that is, but that is an option out there if you want to do this read-along and aren't able to get your hands on a copy of the book in time for August 1st. Another recommendation that I have for when you're reading Russian literature in general is to get a piece of paper or maybe a note card or something along those lines and start jotting down the character names that you come across when you're coming across them. And if you know sort of their relation to another character, jot that down as well. There's also a chance that some of these characters go by multiple names. So as you come across them, again, if you have their full name, and then maybe also include their nickname or the secondary name that they are referred to as, and then maybe a quick jot down of their relation to another character, if it's someone's husband or wife or mother, brother, sister, whatever. Keep all of that information handy because in the beginning, it can be a little bit difficult to keep all of the characters straight. And especially if you're someone who isn't really familiar with Russian names, then sometimes the names sort of look similar. And so I think it's really important to just be able to keep those characters straight. Now, depending on the book and the edition that you have, they might have a list of characters in the front or the back of the book. So my edition actually does have that. So it's right here, it says list of characters. And so what I'm probably going to do is use this, I'm going to put a sticky note or something on this page so I can flag it. And I'll probably flip back and forth, and I'll probably even jot notes down here. So that way as plot points are happening, I can maybe make little notes about things that are happening to which character, so I can keep things straight. Another thing that I recommend that I don't know if it's considered controversial or not, but I consider it a huge help, is to utilize things like Spark Notes or whatever preferred like Cliff Notes sort of reading tool you might have access to. I just use Spark Notes. Now, obviously, read the actual text, but I think especially towards the beginning, as you're sort of getting used to the writing style and the characters and all these different things, a lot of times what I do is I read the text and then I head over to Spark Notes and I read the Spark Notes just to make sure that I'm actually understanding what's happening and I'm not like overly confusing myself or anything along those lines. I think Spark Notes are a really, really great tool when tackling like classics that you might not be used to, or if you're even just feeling nervous at all. Like, I think it helps provide a lot of clarity to books like this. So don't be afraid to utilize Spark Notes. It's a really, really great tool. And again, it doesn't like replace reading the actual book and this actual experience, but I think that especially towards the beginning, as you're getting used to the writing style and everything that's happening here, Spark Notes are really great. Like, I'll just read the chapter by chapter synopsis as I'm going through the different chapters in here. So yeah, definitely don't be afraid to utilize that if you need it, especially if it's like your first time reading Russian literature and things like that. Like, I did it with War and Peace. I'm pretty sure I did it with Middlemarch and Moby Dick as well. So yeah, that really is just a great tool that I highly recommend. So yeah, those are basically like my quick tips when it comes to reading these classics. Like I said, I'm going to be reading this throughout the month of August. If you have picked up a copy of this, you may have seen already, this book is split up into 4 sections, and then each section has its own like books, and then each book is broken up into chapters. So I'm going to be doing sort of like one of the 4 sections each week. You can split up the chapters in the books however you would like during the week. I'm going to make a spreadsheet that breaks it down by chapters, and so I will link that down below and make it viewable for all of you guys if you want to be following along in the terms of like chapters that I'm reading each day. And if you want like a copy of the spreadsheet yourself, just go to File. I think it's File and then Make a Copy. I will have the exact instructions to it like down in the description along with the link to it, so you guys can check that out, and you can make a copy and save it yourself if you want to keep track of where you are in the days. Like, so I like to just put in what chapter I'm at each day and see like whether or not I'm ahead or behind schedule. I'm going to try to keep ahead of schedule just so it'll be easier for me when it comes to making videos and stuff like that. So yeah, I know a couple of you guys have already said that you will be joining me for this. I'm really excited. If anyone else is interested, there's a link down below to the Project Gutenberg ebook. And if you have any questions about the read along or anything that has to do with this, feel free to leave a comment down below or hit me up on Twitter. Again, the hashtag is BrosK. So yeah, that's all I have for now, and thanks for watching.